It's one of those coppers that you just think, oh,
he's going to be a cunt. Yeah.
Yep. For some reason, I only attract them ones.
Yeah.
Wonder why those
I don't think I've ever met one that isn't one of those.
This Nomad Run.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's get straight into it.
Yes.
What date is it again?
It's the 18th of August.
Awesome.
Ask Stan why. Ask Stan why. What's important about the 18th of August?
Go on.
So, like, last year we put it on, I think, what weekend was it, Rhys? The fucking last weekend of August or something like that.
It was the bank holiday, wasn't it?
So we put it on, and it coincided with, like, a couple of other events, and we pissed a few people off. We're not going to mention any names, but, like, they were supposed to sponsor us, and then all of a sudden they pulled out and said, look, you fucking put this on the same weekend as my thing. Pretty pissed off. A lot of people who are coming to my thing are now coming to your thing. Like, I'm not happy. And we were like, look, we didn't know. Like, you didn't advertise your thing. It was private. We didn't fucking know, but we're really sorry. We'll avoid that weekend next year. So then I started putting mapping out when all the events are for this year. So, like, the 101, last week of July, hook up, like the trip out, everything that's happening, I mapped out. And I was like, we had 2 dates to work with, which was last weekend, and I was in Berlin with work.
Yeah.
18th of August. And I was like, oh, there doesn't seem to be anything important happening on that day. Let's book it in. So we put it. I said, I'll make a post, and I posted on social media, and the 18th of August is the day. And then I sat there thinking, this date rings a bell. And then I was like, oh, fuck,
what
that's
is
my
it?
wedding anniversary.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I messaged Rhys. I was like, Rhys, I fucked up. He was like, what do you mean? I'm like, the 18th of August is my wedding anniversary. And he was like, book her a holiday, buy her some jewelry, like, just fucking
do anything. Do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, anything you got to do. So, like, I went into this room, in fact, and she was sat there working, and I was like, what sort of mood are you in?
Feel the room, gauge the room.
Yeah, she turned around, she was like, have you bought a panhead? And I was like, no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I've not spent our savings on a fucking bike that you don't care about. So I said, no. I've the Nomad Run, I've put it on our wedding anniversary, and she was like, oh, it's fine. And I was like,
good girl.
I was kind of like, this is a trap. It has to be a trap. She's like, no, it's absolutely fine, no problem. We'll just do something the weekend after. And I was like, fucking nice one. A couple of weeks later, she was like, I really should have milked that for more. Like, I should have been like,
I lay you off really easy.
Asked for loads of shit. So. But every now and then she'll send me a link on, like, I don't know, fucking Facebook Marketplace to some antique furniture and be like, do you remember how you're going away on our wedding anniversary? I really like this. And I'm just like, cool, buy it. Buy it. Let's do it. No arguments from me forever.
Fair play to her. Fucking hell. What happened? It was supposed to be a couple of days, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. So we booked it in for 2 days. It's supposed to be the Friday night.
And Saturday night.
And then Saturday night, yeah. So the Friday was all set. We're staying at Rene's place, just Foo Bar. He's got this amazing...
Shout out to Rene.
Yeah, big shout out to Rene. He's got this amazing setup, workshop, and a big field for camping, and, like, he's got it set up so you can have a bar and everything. So he was really eager to get involved, because he kind of came last year and said, this is sick, and, like, I want to be involved next year and I can help you guys. We put a vote out to all the people who've come on our Instagram and just said 1 or 2 days, like, we heard you enjoyed it, do you want to do more? And it was like probably, I don't know, 70-30 split, but, like, in the favor of 2 days. So we went for 2 days, and we worked with this venue in Amsterdam, because the second day was supposed to be in Amsterdam on the Saturday night, because we figured it's quite a lively place to be, quite a good place to kind of end it. Awesome. There's lots of entertainment for people, do you know what I mean? So we kind of we worked with this venue, and we locked in a price at like 500 quid for the night, and we were like, oh, that's amazing, like, you know, that's fine. They've got a bar, so they'll make a lot of money off the bar, because Charlie Rockets made like thousands and thousands of pounds on the bar last year.
Awesome.
So we kind of said, you'll make money on the bar, 500 quid's a fair price, we're happy with that, no problem. They were like, yeah, cool, locked in. So we locked it in and announced it, and then about a month later they emailed and said, oh, like, you've locked in this date, 500 quid's fine, but you need to have security for the event.
Oh, fuck.
And you need to use this specific firm that we work with. So we were like, okay, we'll entertain it. How much is it? And the security came up at like 680 quid for the night.
Of course.
And we were like, right, okay. And then they were like, oh, and you need to pay the bar staff as well. And we were like, hang on a minute, it's going from like a 500 quid thing.
But they're going to make money anyway. On
Oh,
top.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we said so at Charlie Rockets last year in the morning, like, oh, how did you guys do last night? And they said it's the most money we've made in one night. Like,
amazing.
Busier than like pre-Flanders nights and stuff. They said the most amount of bikes that's ever been there. The place was entirely sold out, and they sold more beer than they've ever sold. So we kind of said that to this other venue, and they were like, yeah, cool. And then they changed the parameters, and we just said, look, we can't afford that. Like, we'd be running at a loss of about $1,500.
Yeah.
Which we don't do it for money, but we don't do it to lose money either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
of course. Yeah.
It wasn't reasonable.
It'd be all right if you were making like money on the drinks or something, but you know,
we were making anything. So we got stung last year with the with our merchandise because basically we took loads with us. Loads of people bought it, etc. Then somebody decided to steal some from Charlie's, so they stole a handful of a fair amount of our t-shirts. So we had to do a second run of t-shirts, which was at a loss straight away. And then we got stitched up with all the postage going to Europe because of like Brexit and everything else. It ended up costing us, I think I spent, what did I pay the once? It was like 250 quid in postage.
About 200, 250.
So we were like £500-600 probably down for, just for nothing, for the sake of that. So we were a bit more cautious this year. And when obviously the event started saying, you got to use this, you got to do this, we're like, it's just not viable. It's not viable, And last year, a lot of people were saying to us, oh, it'd be really good if we did 2 days. We're like, yeah, we'll consider it. And Stan was like on the fence. I was pushing for it. I was like, a 2-day event would be good. But obviously they've just priced us out of it, unfortunately. So, finding a venue it's difficult anyway. There's not a lot they'll take a large amount of bikers, as you know, mate. It makes it difficult. So we had to make the decision, didn't we, to go back to a day. But everyone was really positive about it. To be fair, we didn't have anybody moan, did we, Stan?
No, everyone was really supportive. We went out to a few venues as well. Like there's a classic car club out there out near Amsterdam, and we told them about the event. They were quite interested, and then they said, "Oh, it's people riding choppers." And we were like, "Yeah," and they were like, "Oh, no, thanks." Okay, nice one. We found another place that was advertised as like a venue hall for anything, but then when you looked into it, it was like a fancy cocktail bar and restaurant, and like it was they were asking thousands, and it just didn't fit with what we were doing. We figured just sleeping in a field and
man. They're always the best nights. Yeah.
And for me, like Rhys said, I was on the fence about 2 days. Everyone at the event will tell you I was like a ball of stress. Just
mate, I've done it before, and it everyone else having a great time, and you're just making sure that everyone else is having a great time. It's fucking
See, I'm a lot more level than Stan, so he's running around like he's like and I'm like, calm down, it's fine, we'll be fine.
For some reason I go straight to angry, and I'm just really shitty with everyone, and everyone's like, Jesus, mate, we're here to have a good time. And I'm sorry,
stop being an angry person.
Stop it. I want you to be happy.
That's what I was like. I wasn't angry with it. I think it's my ADHD doesn't help, but I was like, I want to make sure that literally everyone is having the best time ever. So I went round and asked everyone, like, did you enjoy the day? What was your favorite bit? Are you having a good time now? Is everything all right? Have you got enough beer? Are you okay? And like, even like Rhys was like, mate, chill out. And then like probably I think all the teams had finally got back at like 9:30 at night. We'd got all the challenge books in with all the scores. I'd added all the scores up. I'd given all the prizes out, done a big announcement, said thank you to everyone. By then it was about 10:30, 11:15, and Spike came over to me and was like, please just enjoy yourself. Like, everyone's had the best time ever. Look how happy everyone is. And I was like, oh, okay. At that point, I kind of just settled down. Yeah. Had a good time until about 8 a.m. And then went to bed in the daylight. And then, that next day was a complete write-off. Like, I've got this Garmin thing, and it like monitors your heart rate.
When we were driving back, wasn't it? Yeah.
We were sat in the car on the way back, and I wasn't driving. I was just sat there. And it started beeping at me, and it was like, abnormal heart rate detected. Are you okay? And it was like 158 beats a minute, and I was just sat in the car, and I was just like,
hell,
Rhys, I think I might be dying.
Yeah.
I said, mate, we got a fucking train to catch. I can't stop you. You're gonna have to die quietly,
Just leave me the side of the road. I'll just beep.
Fuck. So where was that then?
Well, that's when I died in the car.
Yeah,
way back.
On the way back from Belgium. Yeah, so
from Belgium.
Yeah.
Right. So for everyone that doesn't know, then, so what is the route? What?
So it changes. So the first year was Calais to Bruges.
Yeah.
But kind of the long way around. So it didn't just go in a straight line. It was like visit some like sites of interest. Tried to make it as interesting as possible, including some like nice roads, really nice scenery. And so we kind of hit like the smaller towns that are a bit more picturesque. So you'd ride through these like, country lanes and through fields and all sorts of bits and bobs. So that was the first route for last year. I wanted to keep it short. It was a 1 day thing. I think in total the riding time was about 4.5 hours.
Cool.
But with challenges,
it took it a lot longer,
add
didn't
another
it?
2.5, 3 hours onto that. So the feedback from the first one was that it was a bit long and there were too many challenges. But obviously, with it being our first event, we didn't really know how to gauge it. So there was like,
of course,
I think there was like 30 odd challenges and I think 280 miles or something to ride. And yeah, so we went from Calais because we figured a lot of people coming over from the UK, jump off the ferry straight to the meeting point, pick up your challenge books and head off to Bruges. And yeah, so that was the first route. And I think the reason we picked Bruges and specifically Charlie Rockets was because back when Flanders was running, Charlie Rockets was always like the pre-party for Flanders. Everyone stayed at this hostel because it was like €11 a night. And it was almost like a mini Flanders before Flanders. So
cool.
Without, Flanders wasn't there anymore. And I kind of just wanted to get people back to Europe, riding bikes in groups. I mean, to be fair, it was a selfish thing for me. I just wanted to go back to Europe with my mates and ride bikes because I love it. I've done a couple of solo trips over there, but I was like, I need my friends with me because it's fine down Europe, but it's not great. So we picked Charlie's, and I think that played into like how popular this event was for its first year. Because for an event for its first year to get 158 bikes, I think it was, probably about 180 people actually turned up. Was quite good, but it is that nostalgic thing of going to the pre-Flanders party where everyone is familiar, and having all the bikes lined up outside Charlie's as well looks pretty good. It was the most bikes they've ever had. So yeah, that was the first year's route. This year we're following on from Charlie's, so we're starting at Charlie's on the Friday in Bruges, and then it goes down through to Ghent, down, and you've got two options. You can either go Brussels, which is like quite busy, but there's some cool tasks and challenges to do, and then there's a town just north of it which is a lot quieter, so that's the second option there. Then it goes down to Maastricht, I think it's called, in like southern Holland, and then follows the river up through little towns and through tiny little villages and stuff, through the forest up to to René's place
outside Eindhoven.
It's only 196 miles, so it's a short route, doing less challenges. And I plotted it out. I think it's 3 hours riding time, roughly. Depending on which route you take, like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So yeah, that's the route. It's quite a nice route. It's quite scenic. We drove it when we went over and kind of made sure it was nice and picturesque for people. But yeah,
what are these challenges?
So they kind of range really, because the idea of this, it all stemmed from a thing called a Wacky Rally, which I did about 10 years ago with a mate, where you buy a car for 300 quid or less and you decorate it in a stupid way, and then you drive through Europe. I think it was like 9 countries in 7 days or something. You do all these challenges along the way, and it was like simple shit, like get a picture of you and your team on a bridge with a cow in the background, get a picture of you and your team in front of the Belfry, whatever, like some sort of like famous building or something. Right. So the location challenges marked the route essentially. And then the challenges like got a bit sillier, but weren't kind of silly, risque, close to the bone sort of stuff. So it was kind of like, I don't know, get a picture of you guys stood on top of your car with a stranger, like shit like that.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought, well, I want to do something like that. And then I started talking to a few people, and they were like, "Oh, have you seen Thrasher? Is it King of the Road? Is it the skate one where they do that competition around the US or around other countries?" And their challenges are a bit more like, say, a bit risque. So they were like, like arm wrestle the homeless guy, or like chopping some beers while riding a motorbike, stupid shit like that. So
or get naked.
Yeah. So
that's one of my questions.
Writing these challenges. Yeah, so we'd set the route challenges and we'd kind of set them simple, and then we set like low level stuff. So we gave everyone like a pack of like stickers and like pencils to mark stuff off, and then it was like, oh, funniest placement for a sticker, but like put a sticker on a police car, but put a sticker on a police officer without him knowing, like shit like that. And then we had the old get a stranger to say ride choppers or fuck off, and it was like extra points for kids or police officers, just stupid shit like that. And then I think we had arm wrestle a fast food employee at the counter.
A manager, wasn't he? Yeah. We had loads of them, didn't we?
Yeah, more points for managers at McDonald's and shit like that. So like, there's people picking at the start, just arm wrestling this one guy, and he was like hated it. There's a video of like one of the widows guys just arm wrestling like a 16-year-old girl at the counter. And that's the thing as well. We said like video and picture everything and send it to us for evidence, because we need obviously to mark the things off. And then you've got the kind of like the naked challenges, essentially, is what they are. So like, buy fuel wearing only your helmet and one item of clothing. And then the funniest one, this came up, we had some amazing entries for this, was buy something from a shop, whether it be food, fuel, or like a souvenir, wearing only your helmet and stickers. And one guy from Switzerland, and oh man, they sent this video through, and I could just see a sticker. The first thing they did was just the NOMAD RUN sticker, like really close up, and the camera comes out and it's on his ass, and he's completely naked, with just this one sticker on his arse crack, just wearing his helmet, and he walks into this shop, and I'm like, this guy's got no pants on.
That's hilarious.
His
nothing at all.
Out. Yeah,
and there's
so
a fucking there's a kid that there's a woman with her kids, and he walks past them, and they like, you know, it's naked.
This guy walks into the shop, and he picks up this keyring. He picks up this keyring and he's like, "Can I buy this keyring, please?" And the guy in the shop's like, "Yeah." He scans it, gives him the money. He turns to the camera and just puts the keyring on his cock, shakes it out, and just walks out the shop. Maximum points for that guy. Like,
what a
10
legend.
out of 10. Like, no arguing. But later that night, he won one of the raffle things. He won, you know, Eddie Beniston does the tanks.
Yep.
And he did as a raffle for a tank painting job. So whoever won it gets like a free tank and paint job. So this guy won it. And he came out, and I was like, "Oh, it's cock out guy." And I was on the microphone, "Oh, it's the cock out guy from the video." Because all the messages and the pictures and the videos I'd collated into a video and then put it on a big screen like a projector in Charlie's playing all night on loop.
That's amazing.
So everyone had seen him and his cock anyway. And so everyone started shouting, "Cock out, cock out, cock out." So he just was like, no shame at all, just took his knob out, put his keyring back on, and like did a little wiggle. And, fucking funny.
Fucking right.
Those sorts of challenges. It got a bit more daft, yeah.
Sick. I was debating whether to come or not, because I'm on a family holiday whilst this is on.
Brilliant, mate.
But now I'm just going to take my bike on holiday and I'm going to leave them, and I'm coming. I'm getting naked.
Yeah.
By all means, perfect.
Yeah, I would say it's not a family-friendly event.
No, fuck them. They can stay. But
that's my wife, because obviously it's my wedding anniversary. So I was like, "Do you want to come?" And she was like, "Absolutely not. I've seen it. I'm not fucking coming to that. No way." I was like, "Okay, cool."
I'm coming. That sounds great.
The challenge this year is like obviously incorporating some of the challenges from last year, because there's new people coming who've never done it.
Yeah.
But there's people coming who have been, so we don't want to be boring for them. But there are some key challenges like that one that are going to stay. That they bring the fun, they bring the content. But
yeah, definitely.
You know, like we had some police officer involved challenges, so like obviously get a sticker on a police officer and like get a police officer to say right choppers or fuck off. But this year it's ramping it up a bit. Like get a picture of your team holding a police officer like a prize fish. Like no consent required. Like
yes,
just pick up a copper.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. Fuck. So what's the fucking, what's the, I mean, do you get many breakdowns?
We had a few last year, didn't we? We had someone, they smoked their brakes and they had to take the fucking wheel off and go and get brakes or something. We had various things sent through. I mean, it's so chaotic. We're just trying to set up, but yeah, some of the stuff coming through. There's people with blowouts. There's people with. I don't think we had any major breakdowns, did we? I don't think.
Everyone got there. Another Bro Chachi lot, Greenleaf Garage, I think it is. I think their Chevrolet just shit an alternator or something. But they, he was on it. He was on it with an Eldorado pickup thing. So he just fucking stuck the bike on the back of that and had the best reception as he drove in. Like it's in one of the videos on the thing on Instagram. Yeah. And he drives it. It's got a big bullhorn on the front and it's got this bike on the back. And yeah, that was pretty sick. But yeah, there was only I think maybe 4 or 5 kind of breakdowns, like blowouts and stuff. Obviously, someone brought an iron head, so they were fucked.
Yeah,
in the car park before we even started. Honestly, it was in the car park before we'd even started, and they were like, "Oh, my iron head's broken," and everyone was like, "Yep."
Yeah.
Why are you surprised? It's a fucking iron
Renee had to come over and fix it. Spent about an hour working on it, got it working, but yeah, I think they made it.
People who buy iron heads are just sadistic, aren't they? They just hate them. They must hate their lives.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
Like,
and just love wasting money.
Yeah. Oh,
spending shovel head money on it.
I'll just spunk it on the iron head. Yeah.
And it'll still never work.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you two do the run?
I rode part of it last year, but it's just logistically. It seemed last year when I was like, right, I'm going to take my bike. I'm going to do this. So I went with James Bull, Nick Morley, and two of the other Welsh lads. So I rode down to Calais. Got there. By the time we got there, because I think we had, did one of us have trouble or something? Not trouble, but it was
ran out of fuel.
I ran out of fuel twice on it drinks fucking fuel. Got there, and then by the time I got there, it was like I had to get back to set up at Charlie's for the night. So it was like this was a waste of fucking time. And hauling my bike is fucking 8.5 foot long. It's not like you can just put it in anything. So no, I won't. Neither of us will be riding this year, mate. It'll just be I got to take stuff over in the car as well. So it'll be cool. Unfortunately, no. I've had the pleasure of riding around Europe quite a few times, like Stan. So I'm not overly upset because there's enough going on in the UK that I'll be able to with the hookup and stuff and all. So shout out to James. I'll be taking the ride out for that again this year. So yeah, I get my riding in. So I live in Wales, which is good riding everywhere pretty much. So I'm quite blessed.
Yeah, I'm from North Wales.
Originally, where to in North Wales?
Colwyn Bay.
Oh, Colwyn Bay. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Rhys hates people from North Wales.
Yeah.
I
like Ollie.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's fine. But it's a general thing. Yeah, pretty much.
That's what we said. Yeah.
North Wales, North and South don't get on, mate. It's been there forever. It's been there forever. It's like they're
and it's so weird. Like listen to Rhys and listen to me. We're both totally from Wales, and
totally different accent.
Yeah. I don't even have an accent. I don't even know what I'm speaking right now.
Exactly. But it's a fun event, mate. We were blown away last year, Stan, when how well received it was. And we still know this. I think we've got about 105, 110 people probably coming at the moment. But we'll get more people. We'll get more people closer to the event now. You've got 101 coming up. You've got hookup, and then we'll probably have an influx of probably 20 or 30 people as well. And I know Renee, obviously with the Widows guys and stuff, and there's people in Holland who can't do the run, but they want to come to the event. So we've if they're Renee's friends, we'll more the merrier. So we're gonna have I should imagine we'll probably have the best part of 200 people there. I would imagine. Amazing. So
yeah,
I can see this thing just growing and growing.
It's a difficult one, mate, because logistically, as we found out this year, it's very fucking difficult to find places to have things to do. We're keen to carry it on. It's not like we're going to stop, but it's we'll have to put some serious thought in where we're going to go and try and get venues in early doors, because that's the difficult part. I do all the financial side of it, and it's just like Stan said, we don't make much money. It's not we make a bit of t-shirts and stuff, but it's not like we're pocketing thousands to walk away, every year. So for us, we're on a budget, it's not to the point where it's self-sufficient where we can be like, oh, we'll just spend $3,000 on venues and we're good to go, So
yeah, of course.
It's hopefully we can get to that place where we got a pot of money. I've got a pot of, I've got financially able to just book a couple of venues and we can just say, right, this is where it's going. This is where it's going to be. Bam, but because it's more of a riding event rather than a hookup, for example, which is you're at the venue, you're staying there for 2 days. It makes it a lot more difficult to try and, shift 150, 200 people from A to B to C, So
yeah, of course.
But
I also I don't want it to get too big. No, it sounds super fucking. I'm a cool guy and I don't want loads of people coming.
No, but I get it though, because once it gets too big, it'll kill it.
Yeah, well, that's what happened with Flanders. Like I messaged Roloff because he was one of the Flanders guys, and I said, "Hey, we're thinking about doing this event. It's kind of on your territory. Like, is it an issue?" And he was like, "Nah, Flanders is dead. Like, it got too busy. It got too much. Yep. It was a great event, but it died. Like, it had its life, and now." This is something that can be not replace it, but this is something that can happen in the same area that people can enjoy. And they got behind it. The Flanders guys, like Roloff, was like, "I'm totally behind this. I support it." So that was really nice. But yeah, it kind of, I think we limit it to like 200. I think.
Yeah.
People.
I think any bigger is too much, mate. It's just
And
uncontrollable.
logistically, like even last year, obviously with everyone like ending at Charlie's, accommodation was a real issue. We had people messaging us constantly, being like, "Charlie's is sold out. What do I do?" And I'm like, "Have you got Booking.com? Like, have you got Google?" Like, but then they were like coming back and saying, "Oh, I've Googled it, and all the hotels in the area are booked up." Obviously, it was August bank holiday weekend, but there was 150 odd bikers all booking in as well. So they want the cheapest, shittest like digs you could find. They'd all gone. So there were some people that were in like 180 quid a night, like hotels and stuff. And
and that's just extra pressure for you because they lean on you, don't they? Because it's your event, so that I get you. It probably is best to keep it.
Yeah, I mean,
nice size.
From my point, I'm gutted I can't do it. Like it's because I remember how fun the rally was, and I saw how much people enjoyed it, and like people told us that they enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, this event sounds sick. Like I'd love to go to this, but I just can't. I've just got to be there and worry about everything the whole day. So
And we're doing our own bar this year as well, which will be cool. So but we've obviously got to man the bar as well now, so it's not like we can pay people to do it. So we'll be manning the bar ourselves as well. So that's extra for us to sort of on top as well. It'll be fine. I mean, it's going to be a nice event. Is that obviously we know the majority of the people that go, and it'll be great. But it's just when it's just Stan and me, it's like you said, you've done events, but it's a lot of time and effort.
What was really nice last year is people chipped in, like people helped out. So like we had a good couple of friends of us who like helped sort out all the t-shirts and did the raffle tickets and like kind of. So a big shout out to Elle Tattoo, who's on Instagram. She was a real help, like logistically, just moving shit around, selling stuff. Awesome. Amanda as well, Red Fox on the run. She wasn't even in the run. She just turned up at Charlie's for the party and then was like, "Oh, I'm just going to block out all these parking spaces and sell t-shirts." And we were like, "Yep, cool, crack on." Like, amazing. So it was nice for that. Like, that's what's nice about this community as well, is people will just chip in and help out. We were really blessed with that last year. So if anyone wants to help out this year,
if you can pull a pint, come on down.
I was saying this recently on another episode, and for me personally, this is the only thing that I've ever found where so many people will just blindly help each other. They don't want anything. Do you know what I mean? It's not. There's no profit to be made. It's just There's I can't think of anything else. Like people just you stick up on fucking Instagram and broke down here in such and such South Wales, and people will turn up and help you.
It's a really good.
I can't think of anything else.
It's a really good community, and it's Stan will be the same as me. I've made so many friends, and the majority of my good friends, I'd say now, being older, are in the bike community, and it's and I get people asking me about magnetos quite often, or carbs, and and I'm on Instagram and I help people out, and everyone, you're right, everyone helps everyone, and there's many people I would, if I can help them, I would, It's a great community, and it's everyone knows everyone, especially in the UK. I'd say it's a very sort of tight knit scene, and it's just a lovely atmosphere to be around, and like these are the highlights of my year, going to these shows, and we're doing our own, and just having a group of friends riding their bikes, having a beer. I mean, it's as good as it gets. It's as good as it gets,
Yeah, definitely.
There's been so many like occasions when I've posted on Instagram, like you said, I broke down on the way to 101. The first year it was on. I was on the M1, just like somewhere after Leicester services. Put a thing on Instagram. Oh, I'm broke down. 2 hours later, a van pulls up. Get in, mate. Take you to the show. Like perfect.
Yeah, you turned
riding round. I've just been in Berlin for work last week, and I put a thing out just saying, "Oh, do I know anyone in Berlin?" And some guy I've never met before called Nico messaged me and was like, "Hey, we followed each other on Instagram for a while. Do you want to come over and borrow a bike and we'll ride around Berlin and get some beers?" I'm like, fuck yeah. So like this guy just said, "Come to this address." I mean, you never know when some guys like, "Hey, interestingly, put in the text, he was like, "Oh, I hope you look like your pictures." Which I was a bit like, fuck, am I going to get bummed?
Is that actually what he said?
Yeah, but I think it's just obviously lost in translation, because I think
he probably meant so he could recognize you.
He wanted to know, like, not just so he could recognize me, but my
Have you had a wash? Have you had a wash?
Yeah, maybe look at your pictures. Have you had a wash?
You fresh?
Don't worry, I've got
Red wine or
wipes.
white? Yeah. Yeah, I just rocked up at this guy's garage and he had like a garage full of bikes. He's in like a cooperative workshop, and he was like, "You can take my Sportster, and we'll ride around Berlin for a few hours." He took me to some workshops, like his friends were building bikes, and introduced me to all his friends. And then we went out for a drink with his partner, and yeah, man, like that. It's just such a nice, friendly community. Like,
Yeah, man,
it's great.
You're right, though, Ollie. I don't think there's nothing else I've ever been involved with where it's such a tight knit community. You know, everyone's just great. To be fair,
yeah.
You know, it's just all the chopper guys. Just like, you know, it's just don't get me wrong. Is no one, not everyone's always going to see eye to eye, but there's always people who are willing to help, and that's I think that's what makes people. That's why people are keen to stick around. You know, I mean,
Definitely.
if everyone was a knob, everyone would be like, yeah, fuck this. You know.
Yeah.
So
I think as well, it's because we know we've all suffered. We've all been on the side of the road and we're like, oh, fuck. Yeah.
We all ride really stupid bikes that don't work most of the time, so we know what it's like.
Ridiculous. Yeah. Tell us about your accidents then.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's why my bike wasn't at the Nomad and wasn't at the hookup and a few other shows. So I was on the way to the hookup. I just finished building that shovel head. Got it running, took it over to Lloyd's to get the wiring done, and was like super happy. Rode it home, no issues. Really happy with it. And then I went out for a bit of a run locally to me, and the back wheel locked up. And like I was on a country road, so I wasn't going too fast, and it locked up and skidded. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So it cooled off, and then it would roll again. So I rolled it basically home. I'd like pushed it like a mile and a half home, and I had the back wheel out, and I couldn't see anything wrong with it visually. And I rolled it, and it didn't sound like it was fucked. So I had the gearbox out, took that to base because I thought it might be that. And then I'm like, post on Instagram, like, it's locked up. What could have caused it? People are sending me all sorts of shit. Bottom end's fucked, mate. Top end's like wedged, or your lifters are fucked. And I'm like, all right, okay. So I kind of went through everything, went through the whole engine, like apart from the bottom end, because I'm not touching that. It's not my bike. Redid all the top end, like did the whole gearbox, new oil, like rebuilt everything, put it back together, and was like, it's fine. Did like 5 or 6 miles, no problems whatsoever. So I was like, right, rang Zach, and I was like, all right, I'm going to set off now to yours, and then we'll go the hookup. So I was like, yeah, sound. Got on the M1, kind of did about maybe 30 miles or so, and I was doing like 75 in the middle lane, overtaking a lorry, and the back wheel was locked, and I was like, oh my God.
At 75?
About that, yeah. I reckon, obviously not got a speedo, but it was about 70, 75.
You're in the middle lane.
I was overtaking a lorry in the middle lane, so roughly that speed. So yeah, the back wheel just fucking locked, and I was like, holy shit. And you know when like you're starting to skid?
Yep.
And in my head, I was like, I'm going to bin this, but I'm going to try and surf it out. I'm going to ride the bike. Like, in my head, I was like, I'm going to stand on the bike and like surf it till it stops. It's definitely going to glide smoothly. And then I was like, at this point, I was like, no, I'm not going to fucking bin it. And so I was like almost sideways. So I was like kind of sideways face on, bars turned in, and then it fishtailed out the other way, and it kind of spun the other way and nearly kicked me off. And I was like, fucking hell. So like I managed to like wrangle it while I was skidding the whole time. And I've skidded into the fast lane, back across into the middle lane, and then into the slow lane, and stopped. And I was stopped kind of at an angle. So I was probably like, let's say that's the lane. I was kind of like that angle facing the hard shoulder. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, fucking hell, I didn't crash. I didn't bin it. Like in my head, I was like, oh, fucking amazing. And then I turned around and a lorry was just coming at me. And I was like, oh, fuck me. But you know when they're stopping, but they're juddering and they're like, like that. And I was like, fuck it. It was suddenly there. And I just jumped off the bike, but it hit the bike as I jumped. So I was gliding. And I landed like on my coccyx, on my arse, and both my elbows, like in between the slow and the middle lane. And I just, just your reaction, you just jump up. So I just jumped, ran to the hard shoulder, and I was like, fuck hell, my arse hurts a bit, but like adrenaline, it didn't really hurt much. And then this guy looked at my bike, it was under the lorry, and his bumper was all smashed in, and my bike's underneath the lorry, and I was like, oh, fuck's sake. And he jumps out, and he was a Polish guy, and he was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, yeah, like, I think so. And he was like, I think I've shot myself. And I was like, weirdly, my reaction was to be like, are you all right?
Yeah.
And then I thought, no, I think I might have actually shit myself.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Oh no, it's just
it turns out it was just my arse that just taken a pounding, but like not like not in a good. Is there a good way? Not in a good way at all. No, yeah. So then I'm like, right. He reversed his lorry. Luckily, a guy behind him was in like the traffic control fucking van, so he just lobbed loads of cones out, put his light on. He ran over. I'm not supposed to do this, but a fucking downed bike. I'm not just going to let it let cars be running past. So then that lane was shut. And my bike, because it had locked, I just couldn't move it. And there was no hard, it's only fucking stupid smart motorways, which aren't smart. So, like, there was no hard shoulder at all. But there was a lay-by 400 yards up the road. And I was like, freaking, I'm not going to drag my bike 400 yards. Like, a few bits had snapped off, my bars were bent. The wheel was completely locked. And then the police turned up like 5 minutes later. And it was just, you know, when you just get that feeling, it's one of those coppers that you just think, oh,
he's going to be a cunt. Yeah.
Yep.
Mate. And I just thought, first thing he said, he was like,
for some reason, I only attract them ones.
Yeah.
Wonder why that's
I don't think I've ever met one that isn't one of those.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So he fucking comes up and he was like, "Oh, I had a bike accident, have we?" And I was just like, I just went, "Yeah." Fuck else am I supposed to say to that? Like, yeah, I have. Yeah. And he was like, "It needs moving." I was like, "Really?"
Oh, mate, my asshole's bleeding, you fucking asshole. Yeah. Jesus.
So he was like, "We need to get it moved. Does it roll?" And I was like, "Not at the minute." And I said, "Well, I need to get it recovered then." He said, "Have you got recovery?" I was like, "Yeah, I've got recovery. I've rang them. They're on their way." And he was like, "Yeah, but you need to move it immediately. We can't have it in this lane. We need to get this lane back open. We need to get it moved. There's a lay-by 400 yards up there." And I was like, "The back wheel's locked. It will not move."
Is this on a smart motorway, did you say?
Yeah.
So there's nowhere for it to go?
No.
Really?
It was lent against the metal barrier in that inside lane. So I was like, "Well, what do you mean I've got to move? I can't. I'm waiting for recovery. They're on the way. They'll be like 40 minutes." He was like, not soon enough. You need to get it. We'll get our guy out now, but it'll cost you a lot of money and it'll be obviously taken to our place where you have to collect it." And then I started thinking, well, they're going to fucking inspect it and have a look at the bike. And the first thing they're going to be like, well, there's no front brake.
Yeah.
No indicators, no mirrors. The number plate's the fucking smallest number plate you've ever seen. Like, it's got a foot clutch and a suicide shift. And it's fucking insured as a standard factory bike. Like, it's black. It's fucking
You're in
black
trouble.
for a start. Like, it's a white bike. So I was like, fuck me, what am I going to do? So I just started dragging it. I was like, I'm just going to drag it.
Yeah.
And I managed to, like, for some reason, I poured cold water on the back axle because I kind of figured at that point that's what had locked up. Got it kind of to a point where it was like grinding, but I could push it with some effort. And I pushed it 400 yards to this lay-by, and I was just drenched. I was fucking sweating, super hot day. And then all the fucking last week of July boys rode past. They were like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Yeah, right." So they pulled into the next lay-by, rang me. I was like, "What's happened?" And I was like, "Been hit by a truck." And they were like, "Fucking hell, we'll come back." And I was like, "No need. Like, I'm getting recovered. It's fine. Like, just go. I'll see you there." They're like, "What do you mean you'll see us there?" And I was like, I'm going to get it recovered, and then I'm going to come to the show." So I rang my wife, and I was like, "I'm absolutely fine. I'm fine. Do not worry. I'm fine."
Have you bought a panhead?
Yeah.
What a fucking panhead.
Funny enough, I got to ride a panhead that day. But yeah, so I rang her. I'm absolutely fine, but I've been hit by a truck on the M1. She was like, "Oh my God." And it's fine. I'm fine. She's like, "You come in, what are you doing? You going to hospital?" I was like, "No, I'm going to come home, get my bike dropped off. I'm going to take the car, drive it to Coventry, borrow Zach's panhead and ride to the hookup." And she was just like, "You're a fucking idiot. Like, you need to go to the hospital." And I was like, "I'm fine." So I did that exact thing. I got back, dropped my bike off here, was like, "Love you, bye." Just jumped in the car, drove to Coventry. And on the way down, I thought, I'll have a look at the skid mark that I left on the road.
In my pants.
I thought you were going to say on your leg or something. Yeah.
In your pants.
I didn't want to look at,
what the fuck?
Yeah. I wasn't in the mood to check out those skid marks at all. So yeah, I fucking would go down. I remembered where it was. So I got my phone out and I was just filming as I was driving. And it was fucking long. And it went across 3 lanes. And then you could just see where the oil, where the cranks at floor and the oil's come out. And I was just like, that's mental. So yeah, anyway, I got to Zach's. I borrowed a panhead. And I kind of got out of the car and I was like, I'm a bit achy. And he's like, "Oh, shut up, get on the fucking bike, let's just go." And I was like, all right. Got there, got to the hookup. Like,
internal bleeding.
Yeah. I'm bleeding from everywhere.
It's gone up my arsehole. So yeah, I get to the hookup and kind of tentatively stepped off this bike. Everything hurt. But obviously I'd post on Instagram because obviously you have to post on the gram, don't you? We could have had a crash up.
Yeah, of course.
And that weekend, like everyone was sick of my shit. Because at first everyone was like, "Oh my God, you've had a crash. Here's a beer. Like, are you all right? Do you want some drugs?" And I was like, "No, I'm good. Like, just some beer's fine." But everyone was like giving me stuff and giving me praise, asking me what happened. But obviously, I was with Rhys and Zach for most of the weekend.
Yeah.
So whenever anyone came up after the first day and they said, "Oh, what's happened?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," and they were Rhys
just
Zach,
rolling his eyes.
yeah, they were just like, "Oh, have you been in a crash? Have you, mate? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that."
I think I put up with 12 hours of it, I think, and then I was a bit like,
That's why we're the best, like British people. You're like, to other cultures are like, oh my God, they're so understanding. And we're like, oh my God.
did you fucking die? You're not dead. You're not dead. Fucking get on with it.
That's what Rhys kept saying to me. Like,
did you die?
Yeah, stop moaning. You didn't die.
Yeah, but the attention's really nice.
I made so many friends that weekend. It was great.
So what happened to the bike then?
I got it home. Obviously left it in the shed. Came back from the hookup. Then the Nomad was on, so I kind of left it sat there for a bit. And then I don't know, something got in my head about it. I was just like, I don't want to ride it, so I'm not going to bother fixing it. I'm just going to leave it for a bit. And it was fucking October, and then it was December, and Christmas came, and then it was fucking February, March, and I was sat there just thinking, like, I need to do something to get back on this bike, because if I don't do it soon, I'm just going to be like, I don't want to ride anymore. Like, it was weird because I did get in my head about it a bit, and I spoke to a few people, and spoke to Paul, who had a kind of crash with a lorry as well, and he was like, it does get in your head, and you will kind of think about it, but you need to get back on. And a few other people were like, just fucking get back on it, mate. So
I was going to say that, like, did it affect you? Have you got other bikes, or is it that the other one?
No, that's the only one I've got.
Right, okay. And you've ridden since then?
Yeah. So I went down to London. I rode with Morgan, borrowed one of his bikes, and like I rode Zach's bike, and I borrowed another bike around here.
But it does get in your head, doesn't it?
It was that bike. It was that, like, I don't want to go on that bike, and I've not been on the motorway on a bike since. Yeah, and I don't think I want to, because I mean they're fucking boring anyway, aren't they? But like,
shit. But all of these things is why I don't go on them. Like, one, they're boring, but then it's not relaxing, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's just
yours on edge, aren't you?
Exactly, you know, 4 hours of being on edge is tiring.
Yeah,
it is.
It's shit.
Yeah. So with the bike, I kind of was like, made a decision to get it back on the road. And I was like, right. So I took the back wheel off, and all the spacers on the axle had fucking melted and everything. So I had to chop them out. Spike sent me an axle, like loads of people sent me spacers, and I kept trying to get it right, and I couldn't line it up. Couldn't get it right. And I've not got like a lathe or anything. I've got a shed in the garden with my bike. I've got no lathe, I've got no proper tools. And I just rang Lloyd. I was like, Lloyd, fucking help me, man. Like, I haven't got the skill, the tools, or the knowledge to do this all the time. And he was like, I'll come pick it up next weekend. So he came and got it. He milled up some spacers. He new bearings in. Like, he just fucking sorted it out. And then it ran like a dream and didn't break down. And I rode it back from his, and it was that first ride. I was just like, this feels fucking mint. Like, I'm out for this.
I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Since I just fucking, we went out for Eddie Stag Do, and I did like 100 odd miles around the Peak District, absolutely faultless.
And no problems.
Didn't lock up, so all good.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it's an old shovel head which is kind of cobbled together, so it has, you know, it sometimes takes 25 kicks to start. Sometimes it starts on 2. Who fucking knows? But that's the joy of choppers, isn't it? But yeah, I like it. I'm back on it. I'm riding it, and I'm confident on it again. And I think that crash, like, although it did kind of get in my head a bit, and like I don't want to go on a motorway, and I fucking hate lorries. It kind of gave me a bit of confidence in my riding ability, that I managed to skip for like 100 meters or so. You know, like the downside was I got hit by a lorry. Like, I didn't crash. Someone crashed into me. So.
Exactly. Don't count.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the crash.
It does get in your head though. Like, we went on a run. Do you remember Storm Dennis?
Yeah.
So we went on a run up the motorway, up to Scotland, through Storm Dennis.
Oh,
nice.
And the wind blew me into the side of a fucking lorry. Well, it wasn't a lorry. It was a wagon, but it wasn't an Arctic. Do you know what I mean? It was the one down from that.
Yeah. Big
wagon.
wagon.
Into the side where, so it only had little wheels. Do you know what I mean? But it was a lorry.
Yeah.
So I didn't hit the wheels, but my fucking arm straight into the side of this fucking wagon on the motorway. I was probably only doing about 60. I didn't come off. It was fine. But ever since, it's something there. Whenever I'm passing a wagon, or there's a little bit of wind on the motorway, I don't know what it is, man. It's not it's not enjoyable.
No.
So it
Riding
fucking
back
hate
from
it.
the hookup on Zach's panhead,
Yeah.
he was just pinning it past lorries, and I was super hesitant to follow him. I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't want to fall. But I'd stay with him because it was his bike.
Yeah.
I fucking broke down on the way back as well. Let's get that recovered.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Oh,
I forgot about that.
I just want to get home.
It was only a spark plug, though, wasn't it? Zach rang me and he was like, and
we
there's
could
like,
find one.
spark plug's dead. And he's like, I haven't got any spare spark plugs. Like,
We stopped in this like super posh village, like near Hereford Way, all thatch roofs and shit.
Yeah.
And the side of the road trying to fix his bike, just kicking it over. It's like popping and banging. Some guy comes out and he's like, "Do you need help, lads?" And we're like, "Oh, we need a pretty specific spark plug for this like 1950s panhead." And he was like, "Oh, I'll drive up to Halfords for you and have a look." And we were like, "Okay." I gave him like the number and stuff. And he pulled out and had like an old 60s E-Type Jag. And
Right.
off. And then he came back and he was just like, "Yeah, there wasn't one, but I enjoyed the drive."
he just wanted to take his fucking jag out. That's all he wanted to do.
Yeah, he was chatting to us and he was like, "To be fair,
Cheers, Cliff.
I just needed an excuse
Thanks,
to
mate.
get out away from the missus and have a drive in the Jag." And we were like, "Oh, fair one, mate." Like,
Yeah.
but I was stood outside this guy's house for like 4 hours until recovery came again. And it wasn't the best weekend.
Yeah. But it's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't die, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
So shut up about it.
Yeah.
A good story, which I've now told over 800 times.
told us
Reese's
that, mate.
eye twitching.
You fucking told her that, man. The hookup, mate. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Got me a lot of free beer there, so that's good.
Hilarious.
Going back to what you were saying about the wind, when I came back from Flanders in 2017, we came off the tunnel, M25, and it fucking emptied down for, well, the whole way. But as I was going back towards the M4, back towards Bristol, the wind was blowing me across a whole lane, and I nearly clipped a couple of lorries. It was blowing me 6 or 8 feet sideways.
And you can't do anything.
You can't do anything. And I was like, and I went across the Severn Bridge, and I was like, this is fucking terrifying. It was just like, it felt like I was just on a boat, basically. I just couldn't control it. And scary, mate. Scary stuff. But
I remember riding up, and I was riding straight, but I was leaning.
Yeah.
Fucking horrible. And
it's horrible.
I know obviously it wasn't going to, but I just felt like the bike was just going to fall from underneath me at any moment. You know, it's fucking horrible. Anyway, tell us about this knucklehead. I love your bike.
Thank you very much, sir.
I looked at your bike the most, I think, at the early hookup.
Yeah. So the story goes back to me buying a flathead. So I basically, bit of a story here. So I bought my panhead in 2014. Guy in America. So again, I imported it, didn't see it. So I was like, send me videos of it running, sent me all these videos of him riding. I was like, oh, this is banging. It got there, fucking piece of shit. Every seal leaked. Everything was fucked on it. So he must have had these videos from years ago, a couple of years prior, fucking rode the guts out of it. I mean, the main shaft seal was leaking, the fourth gear seal was leaking. I can't begin to tell you every part on there, which was nice. He'd taken off and replaced with shovel head parts. Now, Stan will say this: I fucking hate shovel heads. I hate shovel heads. Fucking hate them. Sorry if anyone's got a shovel head. I fucking hate them. I loathe shovel heads. So
why?
I just don't like them, mate.
Okay.
Just don't like them. Zach's had a few shovel heads, which I've worked on with him, and they just, I'll leave it there, but I just fucking hate them. Anyway, so I spent about a year getting this panhead up and going. Rode it everywhere, rode to Flanders, rode it all over UK, rode it to Europe. Great. So I sold my flat panhead. So a guy on the East Coast, I know in Pennsylvania, his friend, who's a quite well-known builder, built this lovely flathead. So which is now Hank has it in Holland. So had my flathead, rode that a while, but I've always wanted a knucklehead. Ever since I've been into old Harleys, wanting a knucklehead. So I was like, right, how can I get a knucklehead? So out of the blue one day, I posted a couple of pictures, and it's when the algorithm was different on Insta, and I was getting a couple of thousand likes on some of my pictures of my bikes, and I was like, oh, not that I give a shit, but lots of people seeing it.
Yeah.
So a guy randomly, I won't mention his name, but a very successful guy, lives just outside Chicago. He basically collects bikes. He had about 150 vintage Harleys, basically. All Dan Carr, Bacon, did all his engine work. So he's like, right, I really want your bike. I was like, okay. He's like, what would you swap it for? I was like, I don't really want to get rid of it. This flathead, lovely. It's a really good bike. He's like, would you be interested in a knucklehead? And I was like, okay. And he's like, I've got 10 knucklehead engines.
Fuck.
So he said, I will swap you your whole flathead for a knucklehead engine. So I was like, oh, amazing. So he's like, what year do you want? So I was like, fucking hell, what have you got, you know? And he's like, I got 42, I got 41. He had a 39, which I really wanted. We wanted like $5,000 on top because obviously 39's understandably. So basically, the deal was done. He got me a few little bits because I couldn't get exhaust. Well, anybody that's got a knucklehead will know this. You can't get parts in the UK at all for knuckleheads. No. Exhausts are impossible to come by unless you buy Powco, which are dog shit. Sorry, Powco, but your exhausts are shit. So you got me a few bits. You got me a few bits. Yeah. No. So basically, yeah, but the engine's got a really cool story. So he bought this engine off a lady. I think I told you this, Ollie, didn't I? He bought this engine off a lady old lady in New York. Her brother registered it the last time in 1969, went to jail for gun running, got murdered in prison. So she sat on this engine for 40 years. It needed a rebuild. So I got the tag somewhere. It was Christmas 1969, and he went to prison at Christmas point. Got killed in prison that year. So the gent I bought it off, had it off. I had it off her, obviously bought it. Dan Carr rebuilt the engine. So I basically imported the engine. At this point, I'd been buying parts for about a year for knucklehead parts from America. I'm a fiend for eBay. I'm a fiend.
Yeah.
James Bull's the same as well. Honestly, just any part, you're just on there like, oh, I'll buy that. I don't need it, but loads of parts. So started buying parts. I found a really cool frame. It's a late 47 UU frame, which was between. They did a very small run of these UU frames, which came after the bull neck of the knucklehead and the flathead, but before the wishbone. So quite rare. It's worth a lot more than I paid for it. I didn't know about it. So Ryan Grossman, 3G Nuck, he was like, that frame's super rare. I was like, I didn't know that. So imported it over, and this was 2019. It started 2020. So it was just before COVID. So I literally it got in the February. And then I was like, I need to put this bike together. So I haven't got a bike now. Obviously, got all the stuff going on. So then COVID happened. So I was like, I bought a house, couldn't move into it because I didn't have any furniture. So I was living at home with my parents. So I literally put the bike together in a week. So I fully built my bike in its first form. This is the sixth form it's in, I think now.
Fucking hell.
So I put it together in about a week, just over a week. I had a few issues. Couldn't get the fucking thing running. I had carb issues. I had to take it to Toshi. I couldn't. So I don't know if you've had any experience with these, but the olive intake manifolds on the old Harleys, on the old ones, but before they went to like the O-ring, they're just olives. They're just like a massive wedding ring fitting. And I was scared that I was going to fucking break it because. So I drove to London in the height of COVID to give it to Toshi, and he literally had it going in like a day. But I had carb issues, and I went out one day and glorious sun, nobody on the roads, broke down on a fucking hill because Wales is like this. Trying to hold the bike on this stupid hill. I had shorts on, which was again smart. I had drag pipes on there. My legs stuck to the exhaust. Red hot. Cut the skin down to the muscle. So I was like, so it's like basically it was about that rounds fucking on my leg, massive hole in my leg. But roll on a couple of months. Yeah, I mean, I've had it together. I mean, we went to the first 101. I had a 33mm front end on it. Hated it. I was coming back. Everyone left me. Rode down with a big group of guys. Everyone's
how long?
What's that?
How long is it? Did you say?
It was 6 over, 33mm 6 over.
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
So, but it was so they flexed, don't they? They flexed standard.
Yeah.
So. This was the first long run I did to the first 101. On the Sunday, everyone was minging, chucked their bikes in trucks, vans. We're going home. So I was on my own. So I was like, fuck it. So I got a ride back on the motorway, and it's fucking flexing everywhere. And I was like, this is not for me. So I was like, right, no, go back to what I know. So I went back to a wide glide then. So I had a short wide glide, and basically all my bikes have been 6 or 10 over. My flathead was 10 over. I had a 12 over Sugar Bear on there. Went to a 10 wide glide. So I was like, I need to go to a wide glide. So bought a short wide glide, bought it off a guy we all know, but I won't mention names. He's like, oh, it's pristine. It looked like he'd been in the fucking sea for 2 years. So we spent about 3 months putting that back together. I had to ream all new bushings in it. It was just full of rust and shit. And anyway, so got that on. And then I also had an off. I was doing one of my friends, Charlie, who does all the vintage now. What's her vintage? I forgot what her vintage shop's called.
Iron Child Vintage.
Iron Child. Sorry, Charlie. Iron Child. If you're listening, sorry, I apologize. doing a shoot with her really well. Riding home, so I used all the old hardware off the fucking Hydroglide front end, right? So seems like a good idea. But I was riding home doing 55 to all the lanes, and the bolt sheared holding my handlebars onto the riser. So my handlebars come off doing about 55
fucking way.
55 miles an hour, right? So it's not far from the hookup where it was. So it's this lovely big sweeping road. So I'm doing like 50 leaning this way. My
Stan, your story is shit now.
My handlebars
crazy.
So yeah, been out
accidents, mate. Like, stop going on about it.
Sorry, mate. So doing about 55 mile an hour. So I've been out all day riding, absolutely fine. So I'm going around this sweeping bend, and it's a bit of a cambered sweeping road. Now, normally this road is long, and there's always cars parked on the side, right? So I go on this bend. My handlebars come off in my hands. I thought my flat tire had gone first of all, because it started.
Yeah.
So of course I realized then that my handlebars are fucked. Well, of course I'm trying to brake, but because of the weight and the inertia, I'm revving it because he's pulling my throttle cable because my bars are here. So I go, and there's a car coming. So I'm going right towards this car. I'm swinging over with my hips. I clip the car, go past it, start wobbling, go down to number 50. So the bike lands on me. Luckily, there was no cars parked. I would have hit a parked car because there's always cars in this place. So I'm sliding down the road with fucking sparks flying off the bike, with me underneath the bike, petrol pouring all over me. Nobody stopped. All the cars behind me just went around me. So I'm like, I'm going to catch fire. And I can't get the bike off me because my leg's pinned underneath it, right? So some fucking 13-year-old kid comes sprinting out of a car, like parked car. And he's like, I'll get it off you. And I say, mate, you've got no hope. Please, just try and find somebody because I'm going to catch fire. This bike, I've ridden 80 miles. The bike's red hot.
Yeah.
And I'm soaking wet in petrol, right? So he's trying to lift it, bless him. And he's like pulling on you can imagine this 13-year-old kid. He's about 6 stone pissed through, swinging on my fucking bike. And he's just lifted and dropping on my leg. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I managed somehow to like wiggle my hips and get out from under the bike. Well, of course, I got no handlebars. So trying to pick it up under the frame holding the forks. So I'm about 2 miles from my parents' house, right? So I ring my dad. I'm like, Dad, again, like Stan, but with my parents. I'm fine. Don't worry. But I caught my bike doing about 50 miles an hour. And straight away, so where are you? So my mum runs from my house. My mum's 70 years of age. She runs from my house down to where I am, right?
Oh, what a legend.
So I was a bit shook up. So I was like, fuck me. So yeah, the bolt, basically, I used the original hardware. The bolt were stretched to sheared. And then it ripped the risers out of the bars then because of the weight me pulling on it.
Yeah.
So my dad comes down with loads of tools. My dad was an engineer, so all sorts of shit. So we managed to patch it up and he brings some bolts down. So I go up to my parents' house and it's a bit bent and my forks are a little bit tweaked and all the sorts. So my parents I was living in my house now. So so I'm about 20 odd miles from my parents' house. So my front headlight's fucked. So I'm at my parents' house. My dad's like, how are you going to get home? And I was like, I'm going to have to ride my bike. So I got no headlight, right? Pitch dark. So managed to get the headlights semi-working, right? So he's like, you sure this is okay? And I was like, we straightened everything out. This was hours and hours later. So I had a cup of tea, settled down. I wouldn't like this then, shaking. So I'm like, right, I'll ride home. So I fucking rode. So I'm about 5 miles from my parents' house, getting towards like motorway, dual carriageways. My fucking light goes, doesn't it? So I'm riding. No. I'm riding in the pitch black. Now I can't fucking see in front of my face. It's pitch black. All the roads. There's no lights on anymore. Is there on the motor?
Of course they go.
They turn them off. Yeah. So I'm
shit.
riding in the pitch black. I can see a car's lights about half a mile in front of me. So I'm fucking just hoping I'm staying in the lane and in the road riding home. And I thought, if I get stopped, what am I going to explain this? You know,
it's
like,
you're fucked.
I'm fucked. So I managed to get home. So I rode all the way home. Managed to get home. Fucking shook up, but fine. You know. Couple of people sent me some lighthouses and stuff because I just couldn't find one. It's all ones. Shout out to all my friends again. People are offering to help, but I got in and then I had road rash on the insides of my thighs. Now I don't know how that happened. How the fuck do you get on the insides? The outsides weren't too bad. I had a really heavy duty pair of cords on. Big up the cords. And I had a bit of road rash, but it wasn't too bad. The insides of my legs were fucked. And the next day I couldn't fucking move, you know, where the bike had landed on me and just dragged me down the road. So at that point I was like, right, I want to change it again. So I went to 10 over then. So I've obviously, I didn't want to cut the frame because it's rear. Yeah. So I got adjustable trees on it. So I've got sidecar trees. I got 3 degrees there and I got 3 degrees in the neck cups. So yeah, it's about 36 degrees right now, 37 degrees. 10 over, and I'm done tinkering with it. I think finally, I got some long fishtails on it now, and I think I'm done tinkering with it. I'm happy. I just want some. I want a super practic B throttle, and I want some old risers. That's about it. But because I got like billet 70s ones on, and they look dog shit. So, but yeah, and here we are. You know, Stan and me went over to Eindhoven. I showed my bike in Matchlight recently, which was a really cool trip. Long days and long on the boat with all the fucking kids. There was about 100 kids on the boat.
Yeah, it was like a school trip.
School trip of fucking footballers.
School trip, and it was like,
fuck's sake.
These kids are fucking unbearable, man. Like,
We want to kill ourselves, but yeah, it's good. So,
how's it doing all them miles? How's it?
My bike runs like a watch, mate. It's I pride myself on magnetos, and I've helped a few people with their mags. You know, I've from years of, you know, again, just fucking about myself and learning. So if it comes to link ups and magnetos, you know, if anyone needs help, give me a shout. Rhys on Instagram. I'm happy to help. But yeah, I mean, my knuck went up to see Zach. He was home recently up in Hay, so I rode 140 miles a couple of weekends ago. My bike, to be fair, touch wood, all my bikes I've gotten to a point where they run nice. You know, I know link ups and I know magnetos. I don't know fuck all else. If you ask me about a Super E, I've got a clue. I've not got a clue. But with the older stuff, I'm fairly well versed now. I've got nearly 10 years of working on them, you know. So yeah, it runs right. It's not fast. I got it geared tall, but it goes well, mate. It goes well.
What's top speed on it? Like,
it'll do 75. It'll do 75. Oh, really? Yeah. I got geared really tall. It's only it's an EL. It's only 1,000cc, but they're smooth. Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't have my flathead used to vibrate. I had white finger coming back from Flanders off I had to go to the hot doctors because my fingers were like balloons. And I was like, what the fuck have I done? And they're like, mate, you got white finger. We've been using power tools. I was like, been riding an old Harley. He was like, oh yeah, you know. So, but no, my knuckles really smooth in the mid range. So yeah, awesome. it runs and rides well, mate. This I'll never sell it. It's my forever bike, you know. So
yeah, sick.
But that's where we got with it. So yeah, I'm look forward to riding it some more in the summer now.
I can't wait to get my forever bike because I've said that so many times. Yeah, that panhead was my forever bike, and then I got it, and it was just like it's a lovely bike. Don't get me wrong. Horsey's got it now, and it was great. But I bought it, and it was a good motor, but it's got a RevTech trans on it, and it was in a shovel head fucking frame and that. And I've also got a 2020 Heritage just for like reliable shit that I need, or if I need to go 500 miles, it does it, you know.
Yeah.
And there were people coming, and they were like getting them confused. You know, oh god, it's lovely that I might go to Honda and see if I can get one of them. Like that's a fucking 49. Like that's so they were getting, and that just pissed me off. And I was so now I'm onto the fucking 66. But,
so you got 66 shovel, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. What frame's it in?
What are you laughing, Stan?
I'm just laughing because that obviously when people come up to you on the bikes, like me and Zach pulled in this fucking service station somewhere. I can't remember where it was. Arse end of nowhere. He's got a 54 pan, and I was on my old sporty chop, that blue one with the stupid Beast Jesus on the tank. And we pulled up, and this guy came over. And he was like, "Oh man, these are cracking bikes." He's like, "I've got one just like it, but mine's a Harley." And we were like,
"You dick!"
We were just like, "Oh," I mean, Zach was just like, "Oh, that's cool, man. I bet that's really cool."
Very Zach, yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. No,
mate, I pull up on this fucking 2020 Heritage, and they were like, "Oh, are you not going to kick it over?" Like, oh my god, you actually can't tell the difference. This is bullshit.
Yeah, it's probably a blessing in disguise. I say this, that people, especially in this country, don't know. There's not many people, unless you know you're into it. People don't know what they are. You know, in America, you know, everyone knows them. They go wandering very easily. They get wandering very easily. Over here, not so much, I don't think, because people probably don't know. They look at them, they go, "Look at that crock of shit he's riding."
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Little do they know it's worth probably more than their car. You know. It's
yeah. Benny Blanco. I was speaking to Benny Blanco, and he said to me, you know, because he hasn't got a key or anything, you know, when he's just like, "Look, if they can kick that over, they can fucking have it."
Yeah. Yeah.
There's all the scallies around us. They ride around on little crosses and scooters with the fucking balaclavas on. They're just robbing bikes. That's all they're doing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Times they've rode up to me, next to me, and looked at my bike and gone, "No, it don't matter, lads. Shit,
Yeah.
just fuck off." I'm like,
Can you imagine them stealing it though? Can you imagine them getting a hold of it, like trying to get it
I
started?
don't know.
They just set it on fire.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Kicking
to
it for 20 minutes. Yeah, sweating like, but they're like, fuck this. Just leave it on the side of the road.
couple of broken legs.
Yeah. And then as soon as you get it, they've got it started and they're like, "Oh, fuck, it hasn't even got a clutch. It's a foot clutch." Right, okay,
Yeah.
I'll figure that out. Open primary, so just get the fucking stupid little scally trousers ripped into it.
Yeah.
The trackies, the Adidas trackies, isn't it?
They're really bad, them little dickheads, though. I had a mate, Jim the Skin. He'll fucking love that I've given him a shout out there. He's in the fucking, I think he was in the Premier and the Key in Newcastle, and he's near the top anyway. And he's, I can't remember what bike it was. It was some kind of sports day anyway. He was going over to Germany, parked up into the hotel, got to his room, looked out the window as you do, just check on my bike, and there's fucking little scallies pulling his fucking Harley with a piece of rope and a fucking moped. So he's like, "Fuck!" He goes to get in the fucking lift, and he's like, obviously it's the longest lift ride ever.
He's just there like that.
Gets to the bottom, and then they're fucking gone. So they'd taken this bike. He calls me, and he goes, "Ollie, I know you've got some connections around here. Can you please try and find this thing?" So I call him back 10 minutes later. I was like, "I found it." And he's like, "No way, 10 minutes in fucking Newcastle. Amazing." I went, "Look at your WhatsApp." Sent him a picture of it on fire. Yeah, they'd taken it. They obviously couldn't start it. They couldn't do anything with it. So they just dumped it in a park and set it on fire.
Oh, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
At least I had the decency to set my own bike on fire while I was on it. Like,
Yeah. So he was like, "Wow, well done, Ollie." I was like, "No, don't get excited."
Yeah. The shit sandwich is like a bit of bread and there's just inches of shit. He's like, yeah.
Oh, good. Little shit. But yeah, at least they're not going to be fucking stealing.
Yeah.
Knuckleheads.
I'll tell you what, if they could fucking pull mine, they'd fair play to them because it weighs a fucking ton. My bike.
Yeah.
It's heavy
It's
as
funny,
fuck.
isn't it? Because for some reason, I don't think choppers look that heavy, you know?
yeah.
Sometimes I forget how heavy my bike is. Do you know what I mean? I go out and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
Mine feels dead heavy to just move around. Like, because it's got the long front end. It's got that Jagan front end with the fucking Barneys. And I asked for 6 over, but I think they're like somewhere between 8 and 7, and I don't know, fucking like whatever. But it feels long, but it feels super heavy because of that. And I think with the narrow drag bars as well.
That's what I was about to say. When you've got the narrow bars, it's
Yeah.
I bought that front end off Jack, and that long one that he had on his sporty, and it came with those proper narrow fucking. I used them once and sold them. Like I couldn't. No wonder he's got massive forearms. Like it's fucking mental. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, I've had to with mine. Like I got buckle ones on mine now, and they're super comfortable. But yeah, I got my front end's 10 over, and it's an old pan front end, and it's so fucking heavy. It's so heavy. Like you're picking it up off the stand. Well, Zach tried to lift it the other day. He's like, "Fucking hell!" It weighs a fucking ton. It weighs a ton.
So where are you finding these fucking panhead springers and front ends and stuff? Where are you finding them? Just eBay?
I'm fortunate, I suppose. I know a few of the guys who trade and sell in America, so I keep my finger in there. But I can't remember. Do you know what? I can't remember who I had the 10 over tubes from because nobody makes, because there's some stupid law in America. So everyone in America used to produce up to 12 over tubes. You could buy them off like Barney's, Frank's, but they brought some law in, which means they can't make over 6s without like special order. So you've got to basically pay through the fucking teeth to have them. So finding tubes from early, especially the early ones, because they're slightly different. I don't know if you know much about, but when the later hydroglides had they got like a different bushing in the bottom, is the different taper. So the later ones you can get, but the early ones, nobody does them. So I literally trawled everyone high and low to find 10 overs. So mine are fucked. I got mine off did mine come from America or Australia? It was a random guy. Had them. Someone sent me someone helping me out, sent me a post. Some guy taking the 10 overs off his panhead because he didn't like them. And he had them, but they're scratched and chipped. I mean, they're not in. Yeah. My bike's it's not a shiny bike. So I was like, no, that's fine. But yeah, but it's just you can't find them, mate. You just can't get them. So, but yeah, I mean, you just got to keep an eye out. There's loads of the American guys who do picking, you know, they buy job lots and stuff, and also it's just keeping an eye out for stuff. But yeah, with knucklehead stuff, mate, like I said, I've really struggled. Josh Bedford, I had my exhaust off Josh because I couldn't find a set of knucklehead exhaust, like longer fishtails, you know, unless you make them yourself.
Yeah.
But you're talking probably $1,000 for a set of pipes then by the time you have them welded, chromed. So
yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
It's mad. So the ones I had of Josh are typical of Josh's stuff. You know, they're a bit crusty, which is fine by me. So yeah, I won't touch them now. I mean,
and is that where you got the Sugar Bear Springer?
No, so the Sugar Bear Springer came on the flathead I had. So the guy who I bought that off, he had again, he builds a lot of bikes. He's been in Born Free, does a lot of hill climbing. So he's got a lot of stuff. So yeah, it was an old vintage 60s Sugar Bear, 12 over Sugar Bear. And Mancy had it off me, and I think he fucking sold it on straight away. He didn't like it. But yeah, it's I should have kept it, really. I should have kept that because there's not many of them about, and it was immaculate as well. But
if whoever's got that is watching this, I'll buy that off you.
It was 12 over Sugar Bear. It's lovely, man. Really good. But long springers. Have you ever rode a long springer?
Yeah.
Because the harmonics on it. Because remember that, Stan? I think I was with you, and the bushings were gone in it, right? When I was going to Flanders, and it's literally fucking bouncing off the road like this, doing 65 mile an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the video?
Yeah.
I thought that was you doing that.
No.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. I used to do
I've never experienced that.
I did it. I could do it myself, but that video it was just doing it because it's the inertia, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And it's just a pogo. So the bushings were loose as. I mean, I got back, looked at the bushings. I mean, it was like a fucking worm in a welly, you know. So
yeah.
But
worm in a welly.
So, but yes, it was. I should have kept it. It was. I mean, I've never seen another one. I've seen a few Dick Allens. I've never seen another Sugar Bear.
Where the fuck are these Dick Allen fucking springers?
In America, mate. In America.
Fuck. Yeah, exactly. And then, that's it. And then by the time you've got them over here, fuck me.
I mean, it was. So I go on. I use some of the old like Jockey Journal, some of the old Farley forums, and I got friendly with an old guy, old Hell's Angel, from Miami, and he was like a heavy machinery, worked in heavy machinery industry, so he used to build engines and stuff. But cool. I can remember. So I've had a few parts come from America in the last couple of years, and you know, you're talking 300 quid for something simple.
Yeah.
I can remember in 2015, he sent me a full 35 mil front end over 6 over. He built for me and shaved the legs. And I mean, a box was, I don't know, 1.5 meters, right? Full of shit. But it was about 500 quid worth of stuff, which he did me a really good deal on. I paid like 85 quid to import that, and it weighed probably 50 kilos. To bring that now, it would probably cost me 400 or 500 quid, I'd imagine.
Easy. Yeah.
It's crazy how mad it's gone in the last 6 or 7 years, you know?
Yeah, shit.
But it's. I mean, I try to sell stuff. I don't hoard stuff if I can help it. But except for some of the old knuckle stuff, I keep that because you just can't get it, and it's so expensive to bring over. So, but it's finding knuckle stuff, mate, is nearly impossible in this country. Really difficult. Really difficult.
I've obviously, you know, like everything's gone really fucking. I'm going to edit this bit out, by the way, because I'm keeping this secret. But you know, obviously everything's really expensive now, and fucking whatever. Polish eBay is fantastic.
Yeah, I've got stuff. I've had stuff from Germany, but you don't pay any tax on the stuff from Germany usually. Yeah,
that's good.
But it's getting stuff from America is not a joke
anymore. Pain in the arse. Yeah.
You got to do it like Matty South, some of the Aussie guys. So you just fill a fucking container and just ship that over. It costs you 1,500 quid, $2,000, but you get in fucking 3 tons worth of material.
Exactly,
you know?
And if you just stick a Sportster in there for the price that you can buy it over there, that'll pay for the container when you get you. What sell it for $3-4 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been looking into it, but fucking filling the things, fuck me, man, that's a lot. You need a lot. I
don't know if you follow Matty, but I mean, he takes a lot of the old like cars, and he takes some of the old Broncos and some of the old shit and takes that over and does it up, you know. And more power to him. I mean, that's the way to do it. I mean, there's no money to be made. People think you get rich off these bikes. I mean, or you can. No. I mean, you gotta do like Luke, you know, like Lucky Luke or some of those guys. Just you gotta spend a lot of money to make it worthwhile, you know, and then it will be worthwhile. But it's no joke now. And the prices of bikes, man. I mean, I see people selling fucking cone shovels for 15 grand. I mean, no offense to shovel heads. Sorry, Sam. Sorry,
And me.
And
Yeah,
you.
I've probably got
Uh,
about 9.5 in mine.
Yeah,
Probably sell it tomorrow for 12.
yeah.
it's
Now that it
crazy.
works and doesn't try to kill people.
I paid 13.5 grand for my pan. 13 grand. 13 grand for my panhead in 2014. So
Right.
so they're selling for nearly double the price now. Mine was a 54.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I see them selling for 25 grand, which is
It's like the dream, like forever bike, like you were saying earlier. It's just getting further and further away.
Yeah.
So all I want is a 56 panhead.
Yeah.
It's like the year my dad was born, and I think it's nostalgic and shit. And
Yeah, of course.
I love the pans, like they're my favorite bike. And I mean, I was in a position where I potentially could have bought one 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get this, spend a bit of money there, and I thought, I'll save up and it'll be fine. Now it's like, have you got 22 grand, mate? And I'm like, nope.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, sound.
I think I was fortunate to get into, because I've always rode motorbikes. I've had dirt bikes my entire life. I mean, I had my dad's friend had a bike, I think it was a DR 250 when I was 10. And he was like, when I was 10 years old, he said, you can have this if you can get it started. If you can get running, you can keep it. And I got it running and started. So I was riding around on a 250 when I was like 10, 11 years of age. So
fucking hell.
That was my start of my bikes, My parents were a bit, standard parents. Don't know about bikes, but I rode bikes forever. So, I mean, then I got to my mid-20s. I'm 37 now. So, about 12 years ago. And I had a pre-unit Triumph, did my license, did all my tests, pre-unit Triumph. So I think I got in at a good time. It's before it started. And obviously James started with the hookup in 2015. So I think both James and myself, especially, because I know he's had his pan since then nearly, but going at the right time, when the prices were expensive. Don't get me wrong, it's still an expensive toy, but it's just gone, and then, I mean, I haven't got the money, I couldn't go and buy a fucking pan now. I haven't got them, I got a house and everything else. So it's, I go in at a good time, and I got a good, like what I paid. I mean, with my knucklehead was, again, I got very fortunate with that, with the fact I covered a whole bike for the engine, but I mean, I'm still, it doesn't owe me half what it's worth. I doubt, if that.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah.
So it owes me nothing. I can go. So
I keep waiting for like the arse to drop out the market, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. And you just think, oh, it's going to drop. But I think it's because it's such a finite resource, isn't it? Like, there aren't any more panheads getting built. There's no more knuckleheads getting built. So the ones that are available are just getting more and more expensive, and I can't see it coming down.
No. I mean, America's basically in recession at the moment. Like, they are literally on the brink of recession, and the price is going up, not down. So it's like there's no downturn in the market whatsoever. No. It's madness. It is madness.
It's crazy. I've noticed it with my job as well. Like bikes, like this, choppers and tattoos and stuff like that. People, even the fucking, and the gas and electrics, like sky high, and no one's got any money. They've got money for fucking bike parts and new panheads and fucking, it's, tattoos and that. It's crazy. It's one thing. It's the one bit that I'm happy about. Like that whole thing with COVID and all that shit. The one good thing that's come from it is people. I think people are starting to think, fuck fucking bills and paying all this stupid shit. I'm just going to spend my money on what makes me fucking happy.
Or savings. Like, it was I think you're dead on, Ollie. I think it's a case of that. Nobody, the future, when don't get me wrong, it basically just turned out to be a fluke, didn't it? But but at the start, it was like, this could be the fucking end. This could be it, So I think people are less. I think people are being more frugal. In the sense that they are. Well, something else could come along next year, and it could fucking start killing everyone. So
I'm just going to enjoy this now.
Yeah. Don't go nuts. But I mean, rather than have 15 grand in the bank, I'm going to go on that holiday. I'm going to have those tattoos. I'm going to buy that bike, and that's great. That's great. It's I'm more power to it. I'm you're only you're dead a long time, aren't you? So you've got to enjoy yourself.
When everything else is,
Stan was nearly dead. Stan was nearly dead.
That time I had a crash. I think I mentioned it. I had a crash on the way. No, I think like when everything's just so fucking bleak, like you turn on the news and everything's just so shit.
There's nothing good, is it? There's nothing good, is it? No, there's never a good news story. It's always like
food, choppers, whatever your fucking focus is, or your love is.
Food. That's just another thing.
Food. Yeah. Throw your shit, throw your money into it. Like,
totally.
The missus were like, oh, do you know, should we cook tonight or should we just get a takeaway? Let's get a takeaway because fuck it, we enjoy it.
Totally. Yeah.
And fuck saving money, because
that's another market that hasn't died. Like you would think it. Like I remember, fucking hell, Rhys, do you remember it was bad? I remember it being bad in Wales. Remember foot and mouth?
Yeah, fucking
Remember
right.
that
Yeah, really bad.
recession that came then?
Yeah,
Like that was
yeah,
really
yeah.
bad. You know, people weren't getting takeaways, they weren't spending money on it.
No.
Now, fuck me, like that takeaway market has gone
80% of the
through
chip
the fucking
shops
roof.
shut. 80% of the chip shops shut,
That's
didn't they?
it.
I can remember
Yeah,
because
yeah.
because well, especially where I'm from, near Abergavenny, it's all dairy farmers. So
Yeah.
everyone there, they were all fucked. It was all the whole area was like on its ass because they were burning cows by the fucking hundreds.
Yeah,
You know,
totally. This recession, everyone's like, yes, doner kebab.
fucking good, get in, get in.
Yeah, fuck British gas.
Yeah.
Oh man, thank you so much for coming on. Seriously, this has been fun.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, mate. We appreciate it.
I'm glad we finally got there.
Look forward to seeing you at the Nomad Run as well, mate. Well, I'll see you before then.
Man.
See you. You going to 101?
No, I can't come to the 101. That 101 always falls on the same fucking day
That's right.
as a run I have to do.
That's right. I remember you saying.
I'll be at the hookup, and then I'm going to take my shovel head on holiday, and then I'm just going to leave the family and come see you lot.
Yeah. So it's only a day. That's the way you're going to spin it. It's a day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect.
The good thing about it as well is, like last year, a few people turned up on their own and were like, "Oh, I don't have a team," and people were just like, "Oh, just join our team, man. It's fine."
Yeah.
Like, as long as you're not a dick, like, come get on board. Even if you're a dick, then get on board because you can do all the stupid shit that we don't want to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be fine either way.
Yeah,
You'll find someone to go with.
I'll try not to be a dick. Do you know when I was supposed to go over and do that EDR run? I can't remember who I asked. I messaged someone asking. They've done the EDR. Who was it? Doesn't matter. And I said to him, any advice or anything, any pointers, whatever. And he was like, yeah, do this, do that. Make sure you stop and get a taco from every single stand. They'll always be amazing, And remember, just don't be a dick to the locals. And I was like, yeah, of course. And then about 3 or 4 times after that, he was like, but remember, don't be a dick to the locals. Yeah,
do not be a dick to locals.
Yeah. I was like, have I come across like I would be a dick to locals?
Did you enjoy the? I was gonna go this year for my birthday, but unfortunately, I just didn't have the means. Unfortunately, but it looked like a good time.
I'm not vaccinated and I couldn't fly.
Really?
Bought my ticket, everything.
Shit. Yeah, America's super strict.
I
thought. Yeah, but I thought you could get in Texas without being vaccinated.
Well, I was flying into Colorado.
Yeah. If you went to Texas, I think. But again, if you got to go to Colorado, you got to go to Colorado. Yeah. But Texas, you can.
We so basically, I bought everything. Everything was booked. Everything was paid for. Everything was ready. And then my wife, she's like, "How funny would it be if you can't get in because you're not vaccinated?" The day that as we're on the way to the airport, and I was like, "I've not thought about this." So I quickly jumped on the fucking app, had a look, and it said, "Yeah, you got to be vaccinated to even It sounds like shit. So I messaged, like them online bots, the live help things. And she was like, yeah, you're going to have to show your COVID passport before you get on the plane in London. And I was like, shit. So there's no way of getting around it, So that was on the 1st, I think, the 1st of the month. And then by the 12th of the month, they'd lifted the ban. And anyone could enter.
Shit.
Yeah, shit. But well, it's what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get over there. Gonna get over for the Texas Born Free.
Oh, cool. Yeah, wicked.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sick. Thank you so much for coming on. Seriously.
No worries.
Nice one. Been a pleasure, Ollie.
I'll shout you.
Pleasure, mate. See you soon, all right?
Thank you so much.